Hello everyone and welcome back to ModelBear Studio. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Let's continue with part 2. Initially I said I would prime these first, then fix some issues. But even before that, I can already see some areas that we can fix even before priming. An obvious one are the feet on the Gouf. The feet aren't even, so it wobbles from side to side. I am thinking of adding some putty on the sides to even them out and stand straight. On the bottom we can see which side needs more filling, that being the one with the glossy patches. I'll be adding more volume to the outer sides, and that'll fix the tilting issue. While I'm at it, I can add it to some other areas where it might be needed. Like here on the seams on the legs, these will need putty. Just by touching this, I can feel the gaps. The Zaku doesn't need much by the looks of it. One area I can see would be right here on the forearm. The areas around the seam feel a little bit caved in. This one stands a lot better than the Gouf. The RX-78, this one is the best looking one. I might just prime this one as is. I wouldn't put the hands in just now, because then it is a little bit hard to get them back out. This being wide does make it a bit hard to see the imperfections. I'm already dying to get this primed, so let's get started. For the putty, we'll be using Tamiya epoxy putty. This one is the smooth surface type. This one is best used to fill areas or be used on areas where gaps are a bit bigger. Comes in 2 parts, and all we do is mix them together. I like to use a little bit of water, just so it doesn't stick too much to my fingers. A nice tip is to make sure to sand the area with something coarse, so that the putty sticks well. If it's too smooth, it might come off. I'm going to press down and let the excess squeeze out on the sides. This is looking good already. For the horns, I do want to add some, just to make them sharper. Here's the extra putty. It'll be sanded down to shape after it dries. Ended up doing some other pieces, like the gaps on the shoulders, a bit more on the horns, the seams on the legs, and some on the feet as well. Decided to sharpen the smaller spikes as well. I'll be using this other putty for smaller areas. This one is from Tamiya as well. It's basic putty, and it is more softer and easier to work with. I like grabbing some with a toothpick and spread it on some of the areas. You don't need much, and it dries pretty quickly. Also, it is much easier to sand compared to the epoxy that's here. The basic putty is easier for filling in smaller areas, and the epoxy for larger areas and sculpting. Did the spikes on the Zaku as well? Areas on the Zaku? The RX-78 has some as well. We'll let these dry, then come back and sand them. Here's the Zaku with the epoxy area sanded, and as I mentioned earlier, the putty was a lot easier to work with. The RX-78 used the putty for the bottom of the feet. This one didn't have major issues. The Gouf was the one with the most. The horns are now sharper. The gaps are now covered on the legs. Most of it went to the bottom of the feet. Now, stand straight. Did the weapons and other parts as well. We are ready to prime. I'll be using Mr. Surfacer 1200 Gray. This will fill in smaller gaps as well. I got this one mixed and prepped in this bottle, so it makes it a lot easier to work with whenever I need it. For surfacers, I like to do a 2:1 ratio, meaning 2 times the thinner than the surfacer. Before starting, it is a good idea to prime a test, just to make sure everything is as it should be. The ratio, air pressure, distance, and so on. Worst thing would be to just jump in and have to sand it all over again, and then prime again. That extra safety step goes a long way. For some of the smaller pieces, I stick them to some masking tape, and this works really well. Once dry, I can just peel them off. The priming of all the pieces went rather well after that. Kept my distance and took my time. Letting some sections dry before applying the next layer. Now, with all our pieces primed, let's review them. I am very pleased. This is a smooth finish. The gray prime does help in seeing some of the other areas that still need to be worked on. The seam is still visible on top of the shoulders, and the head also looks a bit rough. Another visible seam on the arms. On the backside as well, we will add some putty on these. Some on the other sides. The back of the legs look good. Some areas do need some scribing. Not bad overall on the RX-78. The Zaku looks good too. On this side of the shield, I'll fill this circle to make it smooth. The panel lines on the arms will need some rescribing, where they are shallow. The seams are barely visible on this one. The hands look well too. The spikes look awesome, now a lot sharper. Again, we need to bring these panel lines back. Some areas need to be more smooth. The sides are good, legs are good. Here we can clean it up a bit. The Gouf are more customizable kit of all three. The horns came out good, but might sharpen them a bit more. The other spikes are good. More putty was added to the legs. On the back, arms and legs look smooth. Some smaller areas do need more filling. The accessories like the shield came out good as well. Carving out the hole in the window was a good decision. The Gouf shield is good as well. The weapons look good too, although in some areas it shows more work is needed. Looking at the other pieces, some came out perfect on the first try. Like the backpack for all three. Sword, grenades, axe, missiles, all good. A nice tip with primer is we can use a pencil to mark the areas that need more work. Since it's primer, it'll be sanded and erased, so it is totally fine. The rest of the prime pieces, these will be the paints we'll use. When it comes down to mixing our paints, I'll be using these small clear bottles. For paints, I like doing a 1:1 ratio, or at times, a 1.5:1 ratio. I got one already made here from a previous project. These can be stored and easily used at a later time. When not in use, the paint and thinner will start to separate, so you'll need these mixing steel balls to mix the paint back together. There's small ones too, so either one is fine. Here's something I highly recommend when prepping paints for the first time. That is to use some plastic spoons and do a test run. I got some spoons already primed. Our paints are now fully prepared for all kits and weapons. The pink and orange we already had. I prepped all three types of coats, matte, semi-gloss, and gloss, because I want to run a test with them. For coats, I prefer to do a 1.5:1 ratio. It'll require some extra coats. It is safer, and you do get smoother results. Next, let's get these painted. Here's an example on why this step is important. I was noticing some texture on the spoon, and that's because my compressor's PSI was at 25, so the paint was drying before even reaching the spoon, therefore creating this grainy texture. Lowering it down to 12 psi fixed the issue, as well as getting the nozzle a bit closer. Eventually it all started coming together, and I was getting the results I wanted. With all the spoons painted, we'll let them dry for a couple of hours. The colors look really good. The application was smooth, and all looks even. After these dry, I'll apply a gloss coat to seal everything in, then finally a matte coat. Now we're ready to paint these guys. Final color review. Main colors for the RX-78. Both grays will be used across other kits as well. Colors for the Zaku. The Gouf. For the eye, I'll be using this fluorescent red. I won't make a batch out of it, since I'll just need very little. When it comes to the weapons, the majority will be in gray, with a few in this military green. We'll use this on the missile pods and the Gouf sword. We'll start off with applying our base colors first. That being white for the RX-78, red for the Zaku, and blue for the Gouf. Very happy with the first phase. Colors look good and smooth. Next phase will be to let these dry for a while and then start masking for the next colors. When it comes to masking, we'll obviously need some masking tape. I got some various sizes here, a blade, and some tweezers. I also have this scribing needle that I can use along the panel lines to cut the masking tape. I'll give this a try and see how it turns out. You can also use the blade itself. Here's a nice trick to speed things up during the masking process. That is by using a napkin across larger gaps. This can save time and masking tape. Do make the layers thick enough though so that the paint doesn't seep through. For other areas, I'll be using this masking liquid seal. This can be very useful for tricky areas where you need precision. It dries rather quickly and can be easily removed. Let's get started in the second round of colors. Some parts will only require 2 faces, like these missiles. The lines came out clean and look good all around. I'll hand paint the tips, as those are small areas. Same with others, like the beam sabers for the RX-78. The main bodies will need some extra faces, like the Zaku, where the chest needs to be black. It is getting there. In some areas the paint did seep through, but it is very minimal. So, just a couple of touches here and there. The knees need to be black as well. The second phase for the RX-78 was all the yellow areas. I chose to do this first, as it is the lightest color, so it goes very well over white. It isn't bad at all. The masking did a good job here. The liquid masking worked perfectly as well. Next, it'll be painting the red areas. The Gouf also came out well. I am happy with the contrast between the two blues. The liquid masking around the legs didn't work too well here. The masking tape is actually better for this. Just a couple more faces to go. Let's go! On to phase 3. On pieces that are done, I'll apply a clear coat, and also on the ones that we will panel line. Most of them are weapons and hoses for the Zaku and the Gouf. On to the next phase, for the Gouf, which will be painting the dark areas like the feet, chest, and face. Red for the RX-78, then eventually the blue on the chest. For the Zaku, it's also the black parts. It is always so satisfying removing the masking tape after, and so far the results are looking good. We are getting so close already. The shield looks amazing. The smaller details will be done by hand. For the RX-78, it'll be the face and fixing some of the edges that didn't come out clean. We are ready to panel line some pieces. For this project, I'll only be panel lining the hoses and some of the weapons. We'll let them dry for about 10 minutes, then clean them up with some enamel cleaner and some cotton swabs. For the cherry on top, on the scope of the weapons, we'll add a drop of red enamel. Finally, we put everything together. I really underestimated this project, thinking it would be simple. It took a lot longer than I had anticipated, but on the fun factor, it exceeded my expectations. When inserting the hands, the seams opened up, and it left these visible cracks, which I was able to fix later on, so it's all good. I'm very happy with this project. I also want to complete the set that includes the mass production Zaku. That'll be at a later time. Thank you again for joining me. I plan to make more videos like this in the future, so look forward to that. Have a nice day, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.